Afternoon, guys. Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I wanted to continue in our navigation series a little bit today, and I wanted to talk to you. I want to kind of go back to the beginning of things a little bit and discuss something a little more thoroughly. We did a video in the beginning called 5 types of navigation that every woodsman should know, or 5 methods that every woodsman should know. And one of the methods that we talked about was blazing. But we didn't get too much into the blazing aspect of things other than marking trailheads and junctions and things like that with tape so that we knew where we were going. The true meaning of blazing is to actually leave blaze marks on a tree with an axe. And it was practiced very extensively by the frontiersmen of the 18th century, early 19th century that traveled in parties where they weren't all together and one guy was kind of blazing the trail, as it were. He was busting the trail, and he was the guy who was the scout. He was the pathfinder for the rest of the party. The rest of the party would follow behind him, and he would leave blaze marks on trees to give them a code to tell them what to do or how to proceed. And we're going to talk about that today. There are several different types of blazes that you can put on a tree, and the blazes would be refreshed with each passing person until the last man came through. That way the blaze was always fresh. So I would blaze this tree with a mark, and it would be a signal to the rest of the party exactly what was going on. And then each person that passed that blaze in turn, as long as they weren't right together, you know, within the hour or 2 hours, would reblaze that exact same mark, because my mark or my code would tell them what they were supposed to do, but a good fresh blaze would give them a very visible mark from a distance. And that's what blazing was all about. So a blaze on a tree basically is an axe mark or a hatchet mark where you're actually taking bark out of the tree. You want to keep those blaze marks about eye level. You don't want them way down below your waist. You don't want them way up above your head. You want those blazes at about eye level. So let me show you an example of a blaze and how the blaze code works. And then we're going to go back to the classroom area, and I'm going to draw it out for you on a whiteboard with all the different blazing marks, kind of the codes that they mean. We'll draw it out for you so you can freeze frame YouTube and write them down for yourself. So if I just take my axe and take a notch out of this tree, just like this, and it's one single hash mark blaze, that tells everyone behind me to proceed forward. That's what that means. This is the trail. There are other blazes that can incorporate this same blaze. If there are 3 blazes in the tree, that means that there's danger ahead. And we'll talk about that later. So I would proceed with caution until I got to the next single blaze. If I wanted someone to come up to this blaze and turn left or right, I would put a blaze on the front of the tree saying this is the trail, and then a blaze on the side of the tree, just like this, with my axe real quick, to tell them that the trail is this way and you need to turn left, right here. That would be a blaze code. Trail ahead, turn left. Very simple. Now one thing that I'll show you real quick that they would do a lot of times with a blaze like this is, if you were getting near the camp area, you would have a single blaze here, but you would not take it completely off the tree. You would get a piece of bark and you'd bend it out like this, and it's like a flag. And you would leave that flag or tag hanging out like this, and that means you are approaching camp. You've got like a lean-to type situation there. If I had a blaze on this side of the tree, it would mean I'm straight ahead is camp and it's on the left. Maybe the trail goes down, camp's off to the left. But we'll talk about all these different blaze codes when we get back to the classroom. I just wanted to kind of discuss it with you and show you examples of them on a tree out in the wildlife area a ways out. Now we'll go back to the classroom area and we'll talk about it on the whiteboard so we don't have to cut up a whole bunch of trees out here to go through all the different codes. You can see exactly how it worked. Like I said, this was just a form of communication for woodsmen to be able to tell each other what was going on the trail. Again, a single blaze meant the trail is forward. A blaze in the center and one on the left or the right meant turn this way. If you had a blaze on this side, it meant turn that way. Pretty simple. You have danger blazes, which basically are 3 blazes, danger ahead. Use caution until you see the next single blaze. If I blaze 3 blazes and one on the left, that means the danger area is on the left. On the right means the danger area is on the right. Proceed with caution. As we talked about out there, a flap blaze, where you leave a flap hanging off the tree, means camp. Could be camp on the left, camp on the right. If there's none of those, it's camp straight ahead. Pretty simple system to understand, pretty simple system to be able to incorporate into your movement or into your scout with a party of hunters or a group of hunters. If you're traveling into unknown areas, and that's what this was for, traveling into an unknown area, obviously you don't need to blaze a trail if you know exactly where you're going. Now there were other blazes that were used by the woodsman as well as these, I'm sure, that were worked out ahead of time between them for different things. It makes no sense to me that there's no blazes that I found with just 2 blazes. So there must have been something with that too as well. Maybe it just meant caution and the 3 meant danger, but all I could find in documentation were the blazes that I showed you and the discussions of other types of blazes used by private parties that were discussed amongst themselves. So this was kind of like the Morse code of the woodsman when traveling through the woods. Well guys, I'm Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School, and I appreciate you joining me for another video today in this navigation series. I appreciate everything you do for me, for my school, for my business, for my friends, affiliates, and sponsors. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks guys.